Here's a fact that might shock you. As of late 2024, Americans owe more than $1.2 trillion on their credit cards. That's the highest in history.
Wow.
Welcome back to the channel. In this deep dive, we're unpacking the habits, traps, and the smarter strategies that could really mean the difference between financial freedom and a lifetime of revolving debt.
It's a huge topic. That $1 trillion number, it really makes you stop and think.
It really does. So today, we're going to explore three main areas. First, the 2024 credit card crisis, get a handle on the scale. Then essential habits for safe credit card use.
The practical stuff.
Exactly. And finally, we'll look at how debt impacts your future, because it really does.
Oh, absolutely. Credit cards, they're everywhere, right?
Sure.
So convenient for households here in the U.S.
Super convenient.
Mm-hmm.
But that convenience, as the numbers show, comes with some, pretty serious risks.
Especially now, with interest rates climbing like they have, that debt gets expensive fast.
Right. So our goal today is really to offer a guide, how to use these things wisely, avoid those debt traps everyone talks about.
Sounds good. Where should we start? The crisis itself.
Let's start right there. Let's really understand the scope of the 2024 credit card crisis.
Yeah.
What are the latest numbers telling us?
Well, like you said, the big one is that total outstanding debt hitting $1.21 trillion. That was Q4 2024, according to the New York Fed.
1.21 trillion. It's hard to even picture.
It is, and what's maybe even more concerning is how quickly it got there. Experian data showed an 8.6% annual increase just leading up to Q3 2024.
Whoa, 8.6% in a year. That's a big jump.
It's significant, yeah. Not a slow creep.
And that's the total debt. What about the average person who's actually carrying the balance month to month?
Great, good question. For those folks, the average balance was up to $6,730. That's as of Q3 2024, also from Experian.
Almost $7,000 on average, and interest accruing on that daily.
Exactly. And that's a lot of people are talking about. Bankrate found, I think it was November 2024, that nearly half of American cardholders carry a balance.
Nearly half. So roughly 1 in 2 people with a card are essentially paying interest every month.
Mm-hmm. Around 48%, yeah. They're carrying that balance over.
And the interest rates themselves, they're not exactly friendly right now.
Oh, not at all. They're historically high. Average APRs were floating above 20%. That was based on 2023 data from Bankrate.
Above 20%. That's huge compared to other types of loans.
Way higher, generally.
Yeah.
So you've got these high balances meeting these record high interest rates. It's a recipe for debt to spiral.
It really paints a tough picture. And the total cost, just in interest and fees, I remember seeing a number for that.
Yeah, the CFPB estimated, I believe it was for 2022, that consumers paid something like $130 billion just in credit card interest and fees.
$130 billion. That's
wow.
Money that could be going anywhere else. Savings, investing.
Anything else, yeah. It really highlights why understanding responsible use is just critical right now.
Especially for, middle-class families feeling the squeeze. This isn't just good advice. It feels essential.
Totally agree. Knowing how to handle these cards properly is a key financial survival skill in this environment.
Okay, so the crisis is clear. High debt, high rates. Let's pivot to solutions. What are those essential habits for safe credit card use? What can people actually do?
Right. The absolute number one, top of the list habit is pay the full balance every single month, period.
Treat it like a debit card, essentially. Spend what you have, pay it off.
Exactly. That way you avoid interest completely. It's the simplest, most effective strategy.
But what if, life happens and paying the full balance is impossible one month? What's the next best thing?
Okay, if you can't pay it all, the crucial thing is to always pay more than the minimum payment. Always.
Why is the minimum so bad? It feels like you're doing what they ask.
Because the minimum is often calculated to keep you in debt for the longest possible time. Most of that tiny payment goes straight to interest, barely denting the actual amount you owe. It's a trap.
And we saw that example, right? A $2,000 balance at 20% APR, paying only the minimum could take like 5 years and cost over $1,000 extra in interest.
Exactly. Over $1,100 in interest on just a $2,000 debt. It shows how costly that minimum payment habit really is. Paying even, say, $50 or $100 extra makes a huge difference.
Cuts down the time, cuts down the interest. Makes sense. Okay, what's another key habit?
Next up, always pay on time. Seems obvious, but missing a payment deadline is really damaging.
What happens if you miss one? Besides the late fee, I mean.
Well, you get the late fee, sure, But worse, they can jack up your interest rate to a penalty APR.
Yeah.
We're talking 29% or even higher sometimes.
Ouch, 29%.
Yeah, and maybe most importantly, that late payment gets reported to the credit bureaus. Payment history is the biggest factor in your credit score, so even one late payment can drag your score down for years.
Right, and a lower score costs you money down the line on everything else. Mortgages, car loans.
Exactly. So setting up automatic payments, even just for the minimum to be safe, is a really good idea. Or just put reminders in your phone, whatever works.
Good tip. Okay, next habit involves how much credit you're actually using.
Right. Keep your credit utilization low. Ideally, keep it under 30% of your total credit limit.
Credit utilization. Just remind us what that is exactly.
Sure. It's just the amount of credit you're currently using divided by your total available credit limit. So if you have a $10,000 limit and a $3,000 balance, your utilization is 30%.
And why does keeping it low matter so much?
Lenders see high utilization as a sign of risk, like maybe you're overextended financially even if you pay on time. So keeping it below 30% helps your credit score. Honestly, under 10% is even better if you can manage it.
So even with a high limit, using too much of it hurts you.
Yep. We saw that the average U.S. utilization was around 29% in 2024, but people with excellent credit scores, they typically keep theirs way lower, often under that 10% mark.
Good benchmark. Aim for under 30, strive for under 10. Got it. Now let's talk about rewards. Everyone loves points and cash back. The habit is leverage rewards, don't chase them. What's the difference?
The difference is crucial. Rewards are great if you're earning them on spending you were already going to do anyway within your budget and paying off in full.
Okay.
But they become a trap when you start spending extra money just to get the points or miles. If you carry a balance because of that extra spending, the interest you pay will wipe out the value of those rewards many times over.
Right. Earning 1 or 2% back while paying 20% interest.
Yeah.
The math just doesn't work.
It absolutely doesn't. Yet it's surprisingly common. Remember that bank rate stat? 72% of people with credit card debt were still actively chasing rewards.
That's wild. So the advice if you have debt is
Stop chasing rewards. Focus all your energy and extra money on paying down that high-interest debt first. Maybe even switch to a plain no-frills card temporarily. Get the debt handled, then worry about perks later.
sound advice. Get financially healthy first. Okay, next essential habit. Monitor spending and budget with your card.
Yeah, this is about awareness. You need to treat your credit card spending like it's coming directly out of your bank account. Track it, know where the money's going.
Because those little coffees and lunches can add up fast if you're not watching.
Oh, incredibly fast. Use the card's mobile app, set spending alerts, review your statement every month, not just for errors, but to actually see your spending patterns. It's like a monthly financial checkup.
Make the statement work for you, not just be a bill. Okay, last essential habit. Be cautious with promotional financing, like those 0% APR offers. They seem great, but what's the catch?
They can be great tools, especially for, say, financing a large purchase interest-free for a while, or for balance transfers to consolidate debt.
Right, moving high-interest debt to a 0% card.
Exactly. But the key word is caution. You absolutely must have a solid plan to pay off the entire balance before that 0% introductory period ends.
Because if you don't,
the remaining balance gets hit with the card's regular APR, which is often really high. All that interest you thought you were saving suddenly appears.
ouch, a nasty surprise. And aren't there fees sometimes too? Especially with balance transfers.
Yes, absolutely. Most balance transfers come with an upfront fee, usually 3% to 5% of the amount you transfer. So if you transfer $5,000, you might immediately pay $150 or $250 just for the privilege.
So you're starting slightly behind fee-wise, even at 0%.
Correct. And another big pitfall is people transfer a balance, feel good about the 0%, but then keep spending on the old card or even the new card. They end up with more debt overall.
It defeats the whole purpose.
Completely. So the rule is, use these offers only if you have a strict plan to pay it off during the 0% window. Calculate the monthly payment needed, automate it if possible, and stop adding new debt. Therefore, accelerating payoff, not delaying it.
Okay, those are some really solid habits. Pay in full or pay more than the minimum. Pay on time. Keep utilization low. Don't chase rewards into debt. Track your spending. And be careful with 0% deals.
That pretty much covers the essentials for safe use.
Now let's flip it. Let's talk about the common credit card debt traps and really focus on how to avoid them. We touched on the first one already.
The minimum payment trap, we keep coming back to it because it's so common and so costly. It feels manageable, that low payment.
But it keeps you paying and paying.
Yeah.
and paying interest.
For years, sometimes decades. Remember that $10,000 example at 24%? Paying minimums could mean almost 30 years and nearly $19,000 in interest alone.
Just staggering. Gives a false sense of progress, making that small payment each month.
Exactly. You think you're doing okay, but the debt barely shrinks.
So how to avoid it? It sounds simple, but...
Pay more than the minimum. Always. Ideally, pay the full statement balance. If you can't, figure out a fixed amount you can pay each month that's significantly higher than the minimum. Use the warning box on your statement. It shows how long minimum payments will take. Let that motivate you.
Okay, trap number 1. Minimum payments. Avoid by paying more. What's trap number 2?
The balance transfer trap. We just discussed the potential benefits, but the traps are real too.
Right, the fees, the risk of not paying it off in time.
Yep. Those upfront fees, 3 to 5%, can negate some savings. Then there's the procrastination trap. People ride the 0% wave paying minimums, then bam, high interest hits the remaining balance hard.
And the third piece of that trap.
Accumulating new debt. Transferring debt doesn't solve a spending problem. If you keep charging on other cards or the old one, you just dig a deeper hole.
So you end up with the transfer debt plus new debt. Nightmare.
It really can be. There was a financial writer who warned specifically about this. The fees can be high, and if you only pay the minimum during the 0% period, you're just setting yourself up for failure when the real APR kicks in.
So avoiding this trap means...
Again, it's about the plan. Use balance transfers strategically. Calculate the monthly payment needed to clear the debt before the 0% ends. Automate that payment. And crucially, stop using the card you transferred the balance from. Maybe even put it away physically. Compare the fee cost versus the potential interest savings beforehand, too.
Be disciplined. Have a plan. Okay, third major trap.
The overspending and rewards trap. This one taps into psychology. Credit cards just feel less painful than spending cash, right?
Yeah, swipe and forget until the bill comes.
Exactly. It makes overspending easier. And then you add rewards programs on top of that. Cash back, points, miles. They actively encourage you to spend more to earn more.
You start rationalizing purchases you don't really need because, hey, I'll get points.
Precisely. And we know that over 70% of people carrying debt are still trying to earn rewards. It's a powerful lure.
But it's a losing game if you're paying interest. Chasing 2% cash back while paying 20% interest.
You're losing 18% on that transaction, effectively. It makes no sense financially.
So how do people avoid getting sucked into this overspending reward cycle?
Stick to a budget. Your budget, not the rewards program, should dictate your spending. Set a hard limit on your monthly credit card spending, ideally, what you can pay off in full.
And if the temptation is too strong,
consider using cash or your debit card for discretionary things, the wants versus the needs. If you're carrying debt, seriously consider ignoring rewards altogether for a while. Focus solely on paying down the balance. Your goal is debt freedom, not maximizing points on the way to more debt.
align spending with reality, not with reward points.
Got it. Okay, we've covered the crisis, the habits, the traps. Let's talk about the broader impact. The impact of credit card debt on family finances and credit scores. How does this debt affect the bigger picture?
Well, on the household finance side, it's a huge drain. Those interest payments eat into your monthly income, money that could be used for saving, investing, paying down other debt, or just living life.
And it's usually the most expensive debt people have, right? Higher rates than mortgages or car loans. Often, yes, which means it should be a top priority to pay down. And this debt burden, it holds people back. We saw that data, 64% of people with card debt delaying other financial decisions.
What kinds of decisions are being delayed?
All sorts. Building emergency savings was a big one, mentioned by 34%. Investing for the future, 23%. Buying a vehicle, 21%. Even major life events like having kids or getting married were delayed by 5% of respondents because of their credit card debt.
Wow, so it really impacts life goals, not just monthly budgets. And the stress.
Oh, the emotional toll is immense. Stress, anxiety, arguments about money. Plus, high debt makes you incredibly vulnerable if something unexpected happens. A job loss, a medical bill, you have no cushion.
So tackling the debt isn't just about saving on interest, it's about reclaiming your financial future and reducing that stress.
Absolutely. Paying it off unlocks progress in so many other areas.
And what about the direct hit to credit scores? How does debt impact that?
Two main ways. First, as we talked about, high credit utilization. Even if you make minimum payments on time, carrying large balances relative to your credit limits will pull your score down.
Because lenders see it as risky.
Exactly. That Experian data showed a stark difference. People with poor credit scores had utilization over 80% on average, while those with exceptional scores averaged just 7%.
That's a huge gap. So keeping balances low is critical for score health. What's the second way?
The second is the increased potential for missed payments or defaults. When balances get really high, it just becomes harder to keep up. One missed payment 30 days late can significantly damage your score for 7 years.
7 years for one slip-up.
And we've seen delinquency rates rising as overall debt has grown. If things get really bad, you face defaults and charge-offs, which absolutely wreck your credit.
And that leads to that negative feedback loop, right?
Yeah.
Lower spread means higher interest rates if you can get credit, making it even harder to get out of debt.
Precisely. So, even if you're managing minimums, high balances hurt your score through utilization. And if you start missing payments, the damage gets much, much worse. Plus, a bad score affects things like insurance rates, renting an apartment. It has wide ripples.
Okay, so the impact is significant, both financially and on your creditworthiness. This has been really comprehensive. As we wrap up, what's the main message, the core takeaway for listeners?
I think the core message is that discipline and informed decisions are key. The current situation, over $1 trillion in debt, high interest rates, shows the stakes are really high.
So recognize the traps.
Yes. Know the minimum payment trap, the balance transfer pitfalls, the rewards overspending trap, and actively avoid them.
And focus on the positive habits.
Absolutely. Pay on time. Always pay more than the minimum. Ideally, pay in full. Keep balances low relative to your limits. Budget. Track your spending. Use credit as a tool, not a crutch.
Use those massive debt and interest numbers we talked about as motivation.
Definitely. $1.2 trillion in debt, $130 billion in interest and fees. Let that be a wake-up call to take control of your own situation.
And if someone listening is carrying a balance right now, what's step one?
Step one is make a plan. Now, look at your budget honestly. Find areas to cut back, even temporarily, to free up cash to throw at the debt. Prioritize paying it down. If it feels overwhelming, consider reaching out to a reputable nonprofit credit counseling service for help.
Don't just let it sit there. Take action.
Exactly. The secrets aren't really secrets. They're just fundamental, good personal finance practices applied to credit cards.
Pay on time, pay more, know your limits, treat it like real money.
You got it. Financial freedom, a strong credit score, it's achievable with careful, prudent credit card use.
So maybe a final thought for everyone listening. Take a minute today to really look at how you use your credit cards. Are they a tool working for you, or are they slowly, maybe quietly working against you? What's one small change you could make starting now?
That's a powerful question to reflect on.
Thanks so much for breaking all this down for us. Really valuable insights.
Glad to be here. It's important stuff.
Absolutely. And for everyone listening, thanks for joining us on this deep dive. We hope it was helpful. Don't forget to follow the channel for more explorations like this one.